Welcome to the latest episode of Five on the Floor on the Five Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app. On Apple, recommend Apple Podcasts. On Android, we recommend Spotify. Also, check out Five Reasons YouTube channel for all the latest content from around South Florida sports. We've also got Off the Floor. That's our Discord server, $2.99 per month. Click on the link here in the description. You'll bypass the Apple upcharge. You can cancel at any time, access 10 different channels and our stage shows. It's Off the Floor. Also, Prize Picks. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Put down your $5. Get 50 to play right away. Play WNBA, baseball, and more. Of course, NFL preseason's on there and the NFL season coming up soon. So check it out. It's prizepicks.com. Use the code F-I-V-E. And now, today's episode.
Mercy, luxurious, Heat Nation, yeah, Mercy and Lago, down to Biscayne, yay, five on the floor, ride for my dogs, where here's the thing, you can check the score, hustle hard, couple scars, wearing bubble frauds, down to Biscayne. Kept the flow playing, got it all banned. Y'all seen the block, stop with one hand. And Pat we trust, Inspire have the guts. We're here to bring the heat, y'all can hang it up.
Welcome to Five on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the Five Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
All right, welcome back to Five on the Floor. Here's today's floor plan. I'm Ethan Skolnick. You can follow me at Ethan J. Skolnick on Five Reasons Sports. I got Brady Hawk. You can follow him at Brady Hawk 305. We are coming to you after a couple of Heat transactions, one of which was trading Haywood Highsmith and a second-round pick to the Nets for nothing really, because there's a heavily protected pick that was sent back, a second-round pick, and then the signing of Dru Smith to the 14th roster spot. He gets a 3-year contract, guaranteed $7 million total, so essentially pretty close to a minimum over 3 years, coming off of a second traumatic injury. Had the ACL tear, and then last season, had the Achilles tear, and yet has rehabs his way back in. Great journey for him, and much credit to him, everything that he's been through to get to this position. But Brady and I are going to go through what the roster looks like right now, because it's tilted, and I'm not exactly sure how it's going to tilt back before training camp. So let's go through it. And again, we apologize to those who want us to be positionless, but this kind of speaks to a small team, honestly, other than, three guys, one of which I don't really consider a big. But it's a small team. So let's go through it. The guards, Brady. Okay, so we are expecting Mitchell. Excuse me. Yeah. Well, no. Let's start here. We're expecting Hero and Powell to start, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Hero and Powell are starting. Let me try to jot this down here. Hero and Powell are starting. Davion is getting heavy minutes, right?
100%.
Okay. All right. Then after that, aren't we assuming that Larson? How are we projecting Larson? Is he guard? What is he? He's guard, isn't he? I guess
I would
wing.
Yeah, I would call Jaime more wing and Larson more guard, but yeah, 100%. I mean, I know you guys have touched on this already, but Larson, he's a gimme for the rotation now. I know we were pushing it as being like that 8th or 9th guy before. Like, no, he's 100% in the strong rotation when fully healthy. With this Haywood move specifically, so call him a guard, call him whatever. But I think what we're going to hint at later in this episode is that maybe we're calling Pella a guard, but I don't think he's going to be playing a lot of guard this season.
Right. That's part of it. Okay, so then who else is on the roster? So let's go through this. You've got Hero, you got Powell, you got Davion, you got Larson. Rozier is still on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You add in Dru Smith.
You're adding Dru Smith, and I'm not even going to try the last name because Alice will give me a hard time again. But you got Kasparis, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, all right. So now we're looking at, you've got Hero, Powell, Davion, Larson, Rozier, Dru Smith, Jonas. I did it again. Okay. I'm sorry. Anyway, that is for you, Alex. But okay, now I know people are going to put like stars on 3 of these, right? Rozier, they don't really want to play.
Mm-mm.
Dru is still coming back from injury, and the other is a rookie who struggled for good parts of summer league, doesn't appear quite ready.
Mhm.
Okay, am I missing someone here?
For guards, I wouldn't say so. I think the other guys you would call wings, and like I said, I think even some of these guards that we're talking about, like Fontecchio is 6'7",
Ah.
and he's somebody that was playing a little bit, I guess, of the 2 guard in Detroit. So like, I don't know if you could put him in there. Jaime's 6'6". That is actually, it's funny because they actually call Jaime a guard on ESPN when I'm looking at it, but
Yeah,
I
he ain't.
definitely wouldn't call him a guard.
No. Okay, so the wing room then, I guess. So if we're gonna say those 7 are the guard room, the wing room is Wiggins, Jaquez, Fontecchio,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I would say.
Okay. Okay, so let me before we get to the quote unquote bigs, here's another problem. Um, who's guarding the best wings on the other team other than Wiggins?
It's Davion. I mean, Davion's going to be guarding.
Up, way up.
He's going to be guarding up a little bit. No, I think he's going to be kind of sticking with some of the guards, but I think that's going to be the question. If you're leaning in the – so here's the issue. You're leaning in the direction of Bam and Ware, so that in theory, Bam is going to be somebody that can guard a lot of your wings again, and they can lean in this direction that we've talked about a lot in the past, where Bam's guarding the perimeter and Ware's guarding the back end. But I think what my big takeaway from looking at this roster and kind of coming away from this episode is going to be – I don't know if we're fully focused on this Bam Ware thing going forward, but I think you're going to see less of Bam and Ware together with the way this roster is shaping out. Like they're going to be in a place where, yes, they're going to play the first 4 minutes of the first half and the second half, but other than that, they're going to have to stagger. I mean, there's no other bigs on this roster that are going to play the 5 other than Ware or Bam. So you're going to have to stagger a ton that you're going to be big for about 5 minutes, but other than that, you're going to be back to these small lineups. So who's going to be guarding the perimeter? It's Wiggins, it's Bam, and then there's the question. Pella, I think too. Pella's going to be kind of there. That's why I think he's going to 100% be a rotation player and kind of replace some of the things Haywood did, is just because he's had, first of all, he's had a killer offseason. I mean, just all around the board, the things he's been able to do. He just had another big game. I just think he's somebody that 100% could guard the perimeter. But the issue with him being a regular rotation player and being that like perimeter stopper on good players is he's still kind of working around the thing where he's asked to limit his foul trouble. He's still trying to figure part of it out just because he's a young player. That if you're relying on him to be a rotation player and throwing him out there on the wing on some of these top players, there's going to be a lot of opportunities where he's going to pick up a quick 2 or 3 fouls. There's not a lot of perimeter wing depth defensively on this roster right now. And I think like there's another guy that we could probably consider in the wings category is Keyshawn Johnson. But I just don't think he's somebody that's going to be getting regular rotation minutes or regular minutes in general. So he's not really on my list of like their wing defenders that's going to be playing.
Well, right. Okay, so you look at their quote unquote bigs room. I'm putting him there for now. I mean, it's Bam, Ware, Jovic, and Keyshawn Johnson. That's it. I mean, the 2-way Golden, but I don't think he's ready to play. They haven't signed another one to this point. Kai Jones was somebody that they looked at. I just, when I look at this roster, what it looks like to me, and again, they're still going to be trying to move Rozier or seeing what they can do there, and maybe they can flatten out the rotation or at least the roster a little bit more that way. But it just looks to me like Spo's going to be putting together these small lineup concoctions again, right? I mean, that's what you're sort of saying, and I don't know necessarily that was what we wanted to see when they were getting bigger. They don't have a ton of positional quote unquote size. Yes, Bam and Ware if you're playing them together, but like you said, it's not going to happen a lot. Jovic doesn't really play like a big, even though he's gotten a lot physically stronger. Wiggins, I guess he's a traditional 3. Jaquez kind of, like you mentioned, Fontecchio, although he's only going to play if he shoots well, I think. And then the guards, their guard room's small. Hero Powell is not Powell's bigger than Davion. Davion's 6 foot. Larson, if he's playing guard, yes, but like we think he's going to be playing more 3. And Drew's bigger than taller than Davion, but I mean, again, it's not, and the rookie is taller. I mean, he keeps saying the rookie. The rookie is taller also, but again, we don't think he's going to get a lot of opportunity to play, at least at first. So they're small again, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. And the issue with being small, and when you look at this roster, the thing that it tells you is that they better be able to score. Like they better be able to find some offense, just some type of offense, because I think they're past the days of like those early Jimmy build teams where it was they could grind their way through a regular season, even if certain things weren't going their way, just because they had the defensive pieces, they had the defensive depth, they had like that part of it. Where now you're looking at a team where we've been saying for the last 3 years they're leaning offense, they can find different ways to score. But now it's like, I mean, they kind of have to if they even want to be in the place that they think they're going to end up being in the Eastern Conference. Like it's like the Hero power. Like before it was like, okay, well, if Hero Rozier worked, that would be like a nice add-on for this team. Like that'll change something. That was like when they first got Rozier. Now when I'm saying look at Hero Powell, I'm like, well, Hero Powell better work if they like, because there's no backup plan really. Like they have to be able to work. They have to be able to be like giant offensive pillars of this team. They're going to need some of these young guys to really pop offensively. Like I don't think it can be another season of the Ware last season offensively or the Jovic last year offensively. Like they're going to need, as we keep saying, the growth, the pop from some of their young guys. But like when you're leaning small, like you have to be able to score. You have to be able to have like play fast, do something different. Like that's kind of the difference maker. So I mean, defensively is going to be the question. I mean, maybe this is a good thing in theory that like it forces them to figure out the offensive thing. Maybe like that's the only positive spin I could maybe put on it. It's like before it was like, okay, well, we have the defense, so like we're going to lean into this defensive lineup because I trust this more than whatever I'm going to throw out there offensively. They don't have that option probably anymore in a lot of ways. So now it's like, okay, well, we have to figure out this offensive thing if we want to win games.
All right, on the other side, there's one other positive from this. So we'll try to get into some of the positives of this particular roster construction, because I'm giving you a lot of the negatives at first, which is, I'm not a huge fan of the super small lineups. And then also, I'm wondering who's going to guard on the wings consistently. That's a thing in addition to the bigs. But there are a couple of positives here. Get into those on the other side. We do want to mention our friend Lynette. She may try to find the positives in this. She's a very critically thinking Heat fan. You can find her at 954-581-8800. It's 954-581-8800. Also find her at insurancebyLynette.com. Car insurance, life insurance, homeowners insurance, renters insurance. She can handle all of it for you from her Lauderhill office. So check her out. Aggressive Insurance Agency, insurancebyLynette.com. Again, that's 954-581-8800. Okay, so here's the single biggest positive I can see from the way that this roster is structured. Spo has to play Jovic a lot. I just, because I look at this and I'm like, there's no other big options, right? You're going to have foul trouble occasionally for Ware Bam. And I don't think he has any choice. I mean, not that I think he's resisting it as much anymore, because I didn't get that sense when he talked about him out in Vegas. And obviously Jovic has followed up on that with very strong performances for Serbia. So everything is moving the right direction. He's healthy for now. But as I look at this roster, like the only way to make their rosters somewhat big, their lineup somewhat bigger, is to play him, right? And not to size down and play Wiggins at the. I mean, if you're going to play a lot of Wiggins or Jaquez at the 4 or something like that, okay. Sean's turned this episode off a long time ago. You're going to play Wiggins or Jaquez at the 4 or something like that to play all these guards. I mean, you're tiny.
Yeah, Jovic is the piece that definitely make these lineups bigger, because even when you just mentioned Wiggins, like there's the times of the game where you go Wiggins, Jovic, Bam, front court, and even Tyler and Powell in the backcourt, and that's a bigger lineup. Like generally, like you could find different ways to do it, but I think it's more so as a whole. I'm more so worried about the staggering part of it. Like, are you going to be able to lean into Bam Ware as much as I think they originally wanted to? And you mentioned Jovic, like, yeah, he's going to be the piece that they're forced to play more, but like they're one sprained ankle away from him playing the 5 again. Like, and I just don't think that's something he definitely doesn't want to do. And I don't think the Heat want to lean into that either. It's just not a good recipe. That's not his position. That's not something that they should ever lean into, especially defensively. So, yeah, the other part of it, other than Jovic, I would say, is like look, I'm a big proponent of Haywood. I was a big fan of Haywood. I think I just was a big part, like fan of his game, letting him play into the rotation. I think he was kind of one of the more underrated players in the team. With that said, with the direction of this team and where they currently sit, I also don't think it's the worst thing in the world to kind of see a clear opportunity for somebody like Jaime.
Yeah.
That to just see what, just one last chance here to see like what he can become if there is like that extra step, if there's that recovery piece of what happened last year, if he can kind of turn some things around. And also, I think as much as we said Pella would play, I mean, there's still some chances there where I think Spo would lean into the guys that he really does trust. Like Haywood was one of those guys that he really did trust, where you may see a lot of nights where Pella doesn't play and he's on the back burner, where now that's not happening. Like you're forced to play Pella. There's an opportunity where Jaime, that there's a chance where he's forced to play. I don't know how some fans may feel about that considering what we saw last season, but there's a chance for a back, like an actual bounce back, like what we could see there. So when we're talking about we keep bringing up like the current version of this team, like I said before, that this is like a season, like a bridge season. I mean, this is some things where you have to figure out a lot of players on your roster, like who you're going to value moving forward. Are you going to put time into certain young players? Which ones you're going to do? So if this is going to be that type of season, I mean, you're going to have to see like long periods of time of them actually playing. So like as much as you know what Haywood was bringing at that time, what certain guys in this roster are bringing. So now this is going to be a season where you see some of the guys that you want to see different things from. So Jovic really isn't that for me. Jovic is just, especially watching the things with Serbia. I mean, I say it every time I watch him play, but I'm like, I want that guy to play as much as possible. I want that guy to play in his specific role. I want that guy to have the ball in his hands. Like I want them to prioritize that type of stuff just because of what we're seeing. And that's why it is key, because if Jovic is a key part of this season, if he is a key part of this roster and he's kind of closing games, he's playing you're never really going to be small, because he's a walking mismatch if he's able to kind of handle and create the way that we expect him to be able to get to best case scenario. So like that's kind of, I guess, the key to it. And I feel like we just mentioned Wiggins' names in a lot of these podcasts. Like I feel like we really don't, we're not like talking enough about Wiggins on this roster of what he's going to be. But look, he's somebody that is also, we know what he can do defensively. He could size up and do all that stuff, but he's also somebody that's a bigger wing. And he's kind of leads you into a space where you're not a smaller team that they've been in the past when Jimmy was out and they sub in some of these smaller guys into the 3 spot. This isn't that. So there's opportunities, I'd say, to get bigger, but I just think when you look at the roster generally, like if there is an injury in the big man room, if there is if there's just certain things you could see, there's certain lineups, and specifically the guard room is smaller, like there's going to be a lot of 3-guard lineups this year, right? Like, I mean, that list that we put in the guard category, like as much as people don't want to hear it, I think Powell's going to play a lot of 3. There's just certain things that you're going to shift around that I think you're going to see a lot of 3-guard lineups. And I mean, that's kind of going to be the tough part. And then just trying to figure out if you could play Bam and Ware for long pockets of time.
Yeah, Powell and Larson going to be playing a lot of the traditional 3. I think in those scenarios. The other thing is, I think with Wiggins, the reason we do this is because I think we kind of feel like we've seen his best. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Jovic, there's this possibility. And the thing I've liked the most about what I've seen of Jovic, and this popped in the highlights, is it's not just the 3-point shooting. He had 4 3-pointers in the last game, went 4 of 7, but it's also the attacking and the drawing contact, the decisiveness with which he's doing it.
That's a line of time.
Yeah, he is the absolute X factor of this season for them. And we talk about seeking. If they don't come up with an answer about him this season, that's a huge problem. They need, and part of it is him staying healthy, but he's the one guy I look at here and I'm like, I know people are going to say Ware, but I just think Jovic is closer to making a huge impact again if things break right here, and I want to see them play him a lot. 30 to 35 minutes. Doesn't have to start, but opportunities to close, ball in his hands. Otherwise, like, what is it? What is this about? This team's not winning a championship. You've got an extension decision to make on this guy, and he has a skill set that nobody else on the team has or has had for a while. So I just think it's something that they need to do, and I got the sense in Vegas that they are. I also know, and I know it's been reported by others, but there are some in the organization who are huge Jovic fans. And by the way, Jimmy was too. Okay, not just personally. Jimmy was too. Everybody around Jimmy. When I would talk up Jaquez to people around Jimmy, they would say Jovic is the guy. Even during Jaime's, rookie season, they would say Jovic is the guy who has star potential. We'll see, but I think they've got to lean into seeing what he is as much as possible this season. All right, thanks, Brady. Appreciate it. We got a lot of guards on the 5 Reasons Sports team too. We're a little bit. We need to size up. Check out our sponsors, insurancebylinet.com, Prize Picks. Use the code FIVE.